Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm William.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything tabletop role-playing
And
games.
today we were talking about gargoyles.
1, 2, 3, 4. Shout out to
Welcome, adventurers, to the Dungeoncast.
Hey, Brian.
Hey Will.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I noticed you have a fucking cool shirt on.
I do have a cool shirt. This is often this is from the new merch store. This is our Ooze Roomba shirt, which shows a badass gelatinous cube devouring a giant rat and also a sword swinging through it. This is Ooze Roomba. Home cleaning and defense by Alien and Beard. So let me stand up real quick and try and give our audience a better view of this bad boy. I don't know if you can see it. If you move the mic, Ooze Roomba. It looks sick. I love it. Thank you, Dustin. The design's great.
If you want to see a picture of it not on Will, you can go to our merch shop, which is linked below. Go check that out. Yes, thank you, Dustin. Really, really appreciate the hard work and the cool stuff you've been doing there. It's really, really awesome. So, Will,
get yourself an Ooze Roomba shirt. Check out the merch store.
or some shoes. I think there's some shoes too.
We have some Ooze shoes. It's true.
It is true. Hey, Will, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about gargoyles, earth elementals that can fly.
From the 1990s?
No, but I do love that show.
I love that show too. I heard they're going to reboot it.
I'm sure. I don't have faith that it'll be good, but maybe it will be. That'd be nice.
I can't remember if I heard it might be live action or not, which would be so
That'd be
interesting.
Wild. Okay, now I might tune in.
The noir. I love noir very much.
Indeed, yeah. Gargoyles from the 90s rocked. But today we are covering another monster from the Monster Manual that doubles as an elemental creature. So it's another twofer.
Nice.
The gargoyle. These creatures are based off of the Gothic architectural structure of the same name. The difference being that these fantasy gargoyles are quite sentient, quite mobile, and quite evil. D&D gargoyles are weird, and we're going to get into it. They're made of stone, but also have an anatomy of sorts and definitely procreate by doing the dirty. But also, they don't need to eat or breathe. So,
Okay.
which doesn't say that they don't eat anyway, because they do definitely eat, because mostly human flesh. Also, they age like biological creatures do, but can also live perpetually forever if they want to.
What if they don't want to?
Well, then they can just die.
Yeah, like the meme. Guess I'll die.
Exactly. So let's get into it. As I said before, D&D gargoyles and fictional gargoyles as a whole are based off of a Gothic architectural structure of the same name. A gargoyle in this context is a carved or formed grotesque, a fantastic or mythical figure carved from stone and fixed to the walls or roofs of a building with a spout designed to convey water from a roof and away from the side of a building, thereby preventing it from running down the masonry walls and eroding the mortar between.
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with real-life gargoyles.
I am familiar with real-life
Good.
gargoyles.
That's good.
They exist.
Architects often use multiple gargoyles on a building to divide the flow of rainwater off the roof to minimize potential damage from rainstorms. A trough is cut in the back of the gargoyle, and the rainwater typically exits through the mouth. Gargoyles are usually elongated, fantastical animals because their length determines how far the water is directed from the building.
Interesting.
They perch atop battlements in storm-filled skies, snarling, frozen in stone. They lurk in shadowed alcoves deep underground, waiting to strike the unwary. They adorn the rooftops of majestic buildings, wings folded, peering in silence. They jut from the dread walls of the legendary Temple of Elemental Evil. But are they mere sculptures or real monsters lurking in plain sight?
No, they're real. They're definitely real
They're definitely
monsters.
real. Yeah, absolutely. Don't fuck with them.
They're gonna kill. I've used these before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They are really fun. Actually,
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I like monsters that like blend in like that.
The camouflage is
Camouflage
cool.
monsters.
In the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, gargoyles are malevolent creatures of elemental earth that resemble grotesque fiendish statues. They are most commonly depicted as winged statues of diabolical aspect. Most have prodigious horns, sharp teeth, and long tails, but can come in a myriad of forms with as many features as you can imagine. Furthermore, there are also distinct subtypes of gargoyles that we will go into later. Most gargoyles are the size of a medium human, if not a bit larger. Their skin has a texture of stone and is just as varied in appearance. Typically, it resembles the dark gray of basalt. A gargoyle's hide might be porous or marbled, striated, or smooth. Although the creatures have internal organs, their anatomy is unusual. Sheathed in indurated flesh, their bones are as hard as rock but much less brittle. Their vital fluids bear little resemblance to the blood of worldly creatures, having the consistency of wet sand.
Oh, that's weird.
It is quite weird. Gargoyles do not require conventional forms of sustenance. They don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. Instead, they slowly siphon mineral nutrients through physical contact with the stone in which they lair, much like the Galebdur.
Yeah.
Those that perch on buildings in open places occasionally fly to rockier locales to feed, but gargoyles can endure for years without any nourishment at all, just like the Galebdur.
Yeah. This is they're evil Galebdur.
They're evil flying Galebdur. Yeah.
God, it's so weird that they fly.
Because they're so heavy, but I mean,
Yeah.
and they got wings. I want them to use them.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense, though.
I guess not, but magic.
Magic. My blood is sand.
I mean, to be fair, dragons are way too big to physically, in our world, be able to fly. But I want my dragons to fly so they can fly, damn it.
Yeah, actually, dragons are mostly hollow. You guys didn't know.
They're all bird bones.
They're all just, yeah.
Are you aware of the dragon redesigns that are about to come out?
No.
Yeah, they're redesigning all the chromatic and metallic dragons.
To do what?
It's a good question.
More red. More fire.
I've seen some of the designs. They're actually pretty gnarly. Like a lot of them are pretty different from what you'd expect.
Oh, wow. Like they're changing the physical aspects of them and not just their mechanics?
Yes.
I imagine they're changing the mechanics as well.
We won't know until the 1D&D books start coming out, but
Sure.
I have mixed feelings about this, but some of the designs are very nice. And I choose to live in a world where you can use your blue dragons can look however you want. Like the really sweet, awesome mini we have right in front of the camera right here. Because that shit looks amazing.
It is fantastic. Still working on the Demogorgon. There's it leaks. It leaks.
Much like the sand leaks from the gargoyle's veins.
Yeah, so I have it like, I don't know. It's time to try to glue it.
Okay,
now,
we got to figure it out.
Yes.
Okay, back to gargoyles. So minerals provide them with greater energy for hunting, and it is the pleasure of the hunt that drives the stony monsters. They kill for sport, not sustenance. Nevertheless, they relish consuming the flesh of living creatures. A victim's fear and pain speaks to the cruelty that is a gargoyle's birthright and inspires further aggression. In addition, the iron-rich blood and organs of soft-skinned humanoids provide gargoyles with sensory delight, if not nourishment.
It's the Hannibal Lecter of D&D monsters. They're going to cook your skin with fava beans.
A gargoyle's signature talent is its ability to become like perfectly solid stone and remain that way for any length of time. In this defensive state, gargoyles are virtually impossible to recognize as living creatures and are impervious to casual harm. They use this ability to camouflage themselves in their environment, surprise their foes, or merely pass the time. While in stone form, their wounds mend quickly. If another creature steps within 50 feet of a gargoyle in stone form, the gargoyle detects it by vibrations traveling through liquid or solid matter. Like a spider at the center of its web, a gargoyle waits for prospective prey to venture into its zone of awareness, and then it strikes without warning.
This is like a blind sense. Is that the ability here?
In 5e, so this is like the canonical lore ability.
Yeah.
I was disappointed because it is not reflected at all in the 5e stat block.
I see.
Which it very much should be.
So you would have to sort of
maybe they have tremor sense. I mean, we're
That's
gonna
what it
pull
was,
the
tremor
stat
sense.
block, but I don't think it had tremor sense. And I was like,
yeah, when we get we'll stat this thing out, but if it doesn't have those stats as a DM, you just sort of determine that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that I would probably just give them like, okay, well the lore says they have it and I like it, it's cool, so I'm gonna give them 50-foot tremor sense.
Nice. Okay.
Like, period. So in death, gargoyles revert almost instantly to stone form, becoming like the material from which they were birthed. This proto-state is a type of rock that is tremendously brittle. It is difficult to learn much from dead gargoyles. Their remains are often indistinguishable from broken rubble or spilled gravel, especially if they were slain in midair. An intact dead gargoyle is essentially just a statue.
Yeah. How would it just decide to die and then become like a regular gargoyle?
They can die by being slain.
Right. But if you slay a gargoyle, you're bashing that shit.
Yeah.
So maybe you've got one that's like standing upright, intact, but it's like missing a wing.
Yeah, or maybe you slit one's throat, right?
Oh wow!
And so it bleeds out and dies. So it's intact.
This one went to
this one has a slice.
This one looked like it went to the beach from the neck down. All sandy and nasty.
Absolutely.
What's going on?
Exactly.
That's cool. If you kill a gargoyle, it's just like the death description from the DM will be like, you slice its throat and it becomes immobile and the life leaves its eyes. You know, like it becomes like statuesque and even more of than you're seeing right now.
Yeah, and then I mean, you could even leave the players a little bit confused. Like, is it dead or is it playing dead?
Ooh, fucking gargoyle possums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
So gargoyles are treacherous elementals, relentless predators. They haunt ruins, caverns, and subterranean hollows, usually hunting for sport or charged with guarding a specific location. The inanimate gargoyles that perch atop great buildings are inspired by these malevolent creatures of elemental earth that resemble grotesque fiendish statues. A gargoyle lurks among masonry and ruins, as still as any other stone sculpture, and delights in the terror it creates when it breaks from its suspended pose, as well as the pain it inflicts on its victims.
Oh, sheesh.
They're very mean.
Yeah, they're quite evil.
They're quite evil. Gargoyles cling to rocky cliffs and mountains or roost on ledges in underground caves. They haunt city rooftops, perching vulture-like among the high stone arches and buttresses of castles and cathedrals, and they can hold themselves so still that they appear inanimate, able to maintain this state for years. A gargoyle makes an ideal sentry. So it's not just for like a week or a day. They can literally just lock in for a decade.
Yeah, they could be spies. These could be, like,
definitely
very cool spies. Because having them in the city, like you look up one day at your favorite architecture in your downtown area of, I love Waterdeep. So Waterdeep, and they're like, wow, did they add like more shit up there?
Exactly.
What's going on with this?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe there's that nagging suspicion of maybe it's a gargoyle, but then it's just there for 10 years. You're like, no, that statue's fine. And then it eats you.
Can you imagine like corporate, like floor 15 of this sky rise, and you're like typing away and you look out your window and you see like a little sand granule like drop out of the butt of one of these gargoyles.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like,
You're
oh
like,
shit.
Hey, Timmy, I think the gargoyle out there just took a shit. They're like, oh no, not again. We've been invaded.
How does this keep happening? Whereas the gargoyles have a reputation for cruelty. Statues carved into the likenesses of gargoyles appear in the architecture of countless cultures to frighten away trespassers. Although such sculptures are only decorative, real gargoyles can hide among them to ambush unsuspecting victims. A gargoyle might alleviate the tedium of its watch by catching and tormenting birds or rodents, but its long wait only increases its craving for harming sentient creatures.
Oh yeah, that's why they start scaring corporate businessmen in their 15th floor sky rises.
They're just too bored. Gargoyles are easily inspired by the cunning of an intelligent master. They enjoy simple tasks such as guarding a master's home, torturing and killing interlopers, and anything else that involves minimum effort and maximum pain and carnage.
Guys, interloper, let's go. Finally.
Fuck yeah, I love interlopers. Gargoyles sometimes serve demons for their propensity for wanton chaos and destruction. Powerful spellcasters can also easily enlist gargoyle guardians to keep watch over their gates and walls. Gargoyles have the patience and fortitude of stone and will serve even the cruelest master for years without complaint.
Wow.
Sages speculate that the gargoyle race might have originated in mortal wizardry. They suspect the grotesque statues in ancient civilizations were animated through magic like golems or shield guardians. By some fluke of transmutation, those constructs came to life and propagated, becoming the stony predators feared today. Other people claim that clerics disfavored by their gods became cursed, and the stones of their temples came to life in demonic form to punish their transgressions. But such tales are pure mythology. Contemporary elementalists know better. Even if they can't pinpoint a specific genesis for gargoyles, they know that the creatures are natives to the elemental plane of earth or the elemental chaos, likely spawned from the works of the primordials before the world took final shape. Some look to the Nabasu gargoyle, a demonic species associated with Orcus, and wonder if the demon prince of undead had a hand in its creation. But whether gargoyles are the sentient runoff of various creations or the deliberate project of a primordial, no one can say for sure.
Orcus does kind of look like a big fat gargoyle, huh?
It does look like a big fat gargoyle.
Yeah.
Gargoyles are common in the elemental planes. More powerful, intelligent denizens dismiss them as dim-witted beasts, similar to the animal-minded elementals of the wild. As a result, gargoyles live a lurking or nomadic existence, preying on weaker creatures and attacking stronger ones only with sufficient numbers. As a rule, gargoyles do not play well with others. They are obstinate, sadistic, and brooding creatures, selfish in their pursuits and hateful of rivals. Still, they crave a certain amount of permanence, such as a stationary roost or domain to defend.
Sorry, is that true between gargoyles as well?
Yes, it is true between gargoyles.
They hate each other.
Yes, they're not nice to each other, although they do roam in packs. We're going to get into it, I think, like right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hit me.
To that end, they congregate with others of their kind to hunt and kill in packs, sometimes referred to as a nastiness of gargoyles. But even when working together, they still don't get along. If too many members of a pack are active at one time, fights break out, leading to crippling injuries or death. Large nastinesses can be held together only by the strength and bullying of a margoyle, one of the variants we will go over later.
Oh my God.
Or an even more powerful, charismatic creature.
Yeah, like the ones that have been like, they live through structure fires. Those are chargoyles.
Absolutely. They do an extra d6 of fire damage.
That's right. Yeah.
The natural territoriality of gargoyles is frustrated in the elemental planes, where they rank among the plane's weaker denizens. It is a little surprised then that they long ago slipped into the mortal world, where they aren't at the bottom of the pecking order. Gargoyles have infested caves, ruins, and other dark places ever since, preying on all living things and earning a reputation as earthly fiends. Because they are not from the world, gargoyles have no natural place in it. Their presence is almost always unwelcome, a tumorous threat to other beings. They claim territory by force, hunting and harassing any creature that cannot placate or defeat them.
Yeah, that all tracks. This is weird. Like, putting these guys in a dungeon sounds difficult. Like, they need their own section of the dungeon.
Yes, they which is often the opening. You know, the foyer.
Yes, yes.
But as long as you do that, as long as like they are not having to cooperate with other creatures, and you're a sufficiently powerful master, if you will, like they'll gladly do it.
Yeah, it's almost
because they're expecting people to trespass. And honestly, if you're hiring gargoyles, quote unquote hiring, you're expecting trespassers.
Right.
So it's a win-win-win for everybody, except for the trespasser. It's not a win for them.
The interloper.
Yeah, the interloper, not a win for them.
No. Well, maybe. I mean,
the gargoyles doesn't even drop good loot. There's no win for them.
That's
true. They get that XP though.
You could like a gemgoyle could have, like a fancy gargoyle.
Absolutely.
It's like laden with
a
rupees.
Gilded gargoyle.
Yeah, gilded gargoyle. Guildgoyle. He's starting a club. He wants you to join. You have to stand very still.
I love it. Gargoyles favor venues that have open spaces where they can fly and high vantages from which they can dive on prey. But such a location must also have a view of roads or trails that provide a supply of victims. Within those requirements, gargoyles are as comfortable in underdark caves as they are beneath the open sky. They can develop a fondness for particular sites and might vie to win a prime perch. On the surface world, they choose mountains and rocky bluffs. They ambush prey by diving from high above or by springing from shadowed alcoves. A small number of gargoyles, the bravest and most vicious, live in cities, where they perch on the eaves and spires of the tallest buildings in the guise of stone statues.
Yeah, as soon as you learn about these, though, you have to go destroy all the fucking gargoyles in your city, right?
Right?
There's no way that you can just allow, like...
It does seem like a poor practice.
Yeah, and if you're like walking through a canyon and you see one random fucking gargoyle up on the cliffside, that you need to stay away from that shit.
You're gonna mostly see the statue version ones like on a wizard's tower, right? And who's gonna go tell Alistair, the most powerful wizard in the realm, to take those down?
That's
no
true.
one. No one's gonna tell him to do that.
I don't know, man. I think you're gonna want to get rid of all your gargoyles. Never. I will never get... I love them very much. I think half of them are fake. I don't give a shit.
He's like, that's the point.
Those are my friends, okay? What are you doing? Seize the interloper.
Yes, seize the interloper, motherfucker. Tale of the creature's watchful evil have become ubiquitous across the ages. Common superstition holds that their presence, though undesirable, wards off worse problems. Kings, priests, mages, and nobles erect gargoyle-shaped statuary on their estates to, quote-unquote, guard their holdings. This trend further muddies the origin of the creatures. Which came first, the gargoyle or the statue?
Oh.
Is a grotesque carving a dormant gargoyle or just cut stone? Every crouched bestial sculpture is suspect, and that fact suits their builders just fine.
There you go. We were here first. Mm-hmm. Fuck all you guys.
Indeed. It suits some gargoyles, too. They take advantage of the confusion by perching among grotesque statues placed by builders. These statues are almost always high overhead, where one more won't be noticed.
I see.
Other gargoyles avoid buildings adorned in such figures because they, too, cannot tell the difference between a real gargoyle and a sculpture without a close and risky inspection.
Yeah.
So a dormant gargoyle doesn't just resemble stone, it is stone, and unless it moves, it can fool others of its kind. Some gargoyles stay away from the buildings that might already be claimed by rivals.
Yeah, it's like checking birds and like reptiles for gender, or like like parts to figure it out. It's like you gotta
get up in it.
Another gargoyle is like, does this one have the stink?
Exactly.
I must put my face where no face should go.
Yeah, and the risk being that like the gargoyle that's faking it is aware that you're a real gargoyle and is about to kick you in the face.
It's trying to smell you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like it's getting up into your private places,
your nether regions,
your nethers.
Temples,
your
often,
nastiness.
Your nastinesses. Temples often erect diabolical statues that resemble gargoyles to ward off intruders or to remind their followers of the fiends that oppose their beliefs. Evil faiths sometimes encourage real gargoyles to roost on the rooftops of their temples, offering a relatively safe lair in exchange for strikes against their enemies. Although gargoyles can be as ferocious as sloths, their behavior is more consistent. Accordingly, some elemental powers have learned to harness gargoyles' natural savagery and territoriality, employing them as hunters, messengers, and sentries. Lacking keen intelligence, gargoyles often consent to serve such masters, especially those who can provide them with a domain to defend. Noble Efreet especially exploit gargoyles, using them to terrorize slaves or hunt escapees. Gladiatorial arenas in the City of Brass and other civilizations in the elemental chaos often feature gargoyles as first-round contenders. The Tao also use gargoyles as defenders, supplying them with weaker prey to sate their destructive appetites. As the elementalists say, gargoyles are creatures of elemental evil, spawned from primeval rock by the hands of the primordials before the world was constant. In many ways, they are still malleable and shaped by external forces. They are free-willed beings susceptible to change, mutation, or refinement. Most gargoyles indulge their baser appetites and are happy to follow the directives of intelligent, vile masters. Legions of gargoyles loyal to Orcus were corrupted by the demon prince long ago. Some were twisted into demons, and others merely took on demonic aspects. The Nabasu gargoyles act more like fiends and dwell in the abyss as well as in the real world.
Yeah, they're the special gargoyle club. Our Nabasu gargoyles, they have all of these same attributes. Like they look like gargoyles, can like pose as gargoyles. Or
I don't think we have a Nabasu for 5e, but let me see. Maybe we do, but they look like kind of like a cross between shadow demons and gargoyles.
I see. So yeah, that one looks like a big crazy bat. Looks like the man bat from Batman.
It looks like the man bat. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like we do have an official stat block somewhere. I can't pull it up here, but
when we get to the stat block section, I can look it up.
Mordecai and Tome of Foes. So I don't know if it was re-released for Mordecai's Monsters of the Multiverse,
right?
But it could have been. But it was definitely in Tome of Foes, so we have that one at least.
Okay.
Back to what I was saying. Other cults recruit, train, and breed gargoyles, none more successfully than the Elder Elemental Eye. Members of this cult have made many advances in gargoyle physiology and have found ways to enslave them. Gargoyles of the Eye are fearless and self-sacrificing. Unlike their free-willed kin, they die to ensure the safety of their masters.
Okay.
Other variants include the Fire Gargoyles.
The Chargoyles.
Yes, the Chargoyles, as we said earlier. These are an artificially created variant made by the villainous magic user group Circle of Four through means of infusing gargoyles with the elemental fire of fire elementals. Then there are the, here we go, Capoacynths.
Very good.
These are gargoyles that live underwater. Their wings are used to aid in their swimming. Other than their habitat, they're the same as land-dwelling kin, preferring shallow waters and undersea caves.
I don't have a good off-the-top name for wet gargoyles.
Yeah, me neither.
They're just wet gargoyles.
Then there is the Margoyle.
There we go.
Even more vicious than normal gargoyles, Margoyles prefer living underground and are sometimes found leading a group of normal gargoyles. Their skin is much harder and they are more difficult to spot against stone. Also, they're bigger. They're dire gargoyles. That's what they are. They're dire gargoyles.
Oh my gosh.
Gargoyles live for about 50 years, but they do not age well in stone form. Because they spend most of their time in stasis, it's possible, even common, for gargoyles to live for centuries. They rarely die of old age. However, they delight in torturing weaker creatures and sometimes misjudge their targets. Almost inevitably, gargoyles are slain by adventurers, other monsters, or their own kind. An elderly gargoyle is more likely to assume stone form and never reawaken than to simply let its years run out.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was the, like, I'm going to perch at Master's, dormitory one last time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see, like, a really bad interloper, I'm going to, like, All Might style, like, jump off this ledge and throw my last punch.
Yeah, put your back into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I watched My Hero Academia.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, a bunch of all of it.
I don't know what because I know you probably watched subbed, right?
Absolutely.
So I don't know what the quote is in that scene that you're referring to.
It's very early on. It's
pretty early.
It's hard to even call it a spoiler.
I know, but it's still spoilers.
Yeah.
But that last punch that you're referring to, but in the English dub, which is the one I watched, he says, "That's because I didn't put my back into it." And
yeah,
then
he says something similar.
And I'm like, "I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're crying."
This is the coolest scene I've ever seen. But anyways, yeah, My Hero rocks. It's pretty good.
It's a good show.
Where was I? It's
worth noting.
It's worth noting that while in storm form, gargoyles remain aware of their surroundings and dimly cognizant of the passing of time. Their active minds lapse into inertia but do not drowse entirely. They are alert enough to discriminate among prospective victims in close proximity.
This sounds like a form of hell for me. I would not like that.
Well, luckily for them, it's a choice, right? But yeah, I feel like it would drive you crazy over time.
Like the fear of death, like of your inevitability, like causes you to stay in stasis for like indefinitely,
right.
And then you just live in this.
You just have to be really good at entertaining yourself for being like a really deep thinker.
Yeah,
it sucks that they're stupid. So that really sucks.
That's what their purgatory is.
Yeah,
I wish I wasn't so dumb.
I wish I was so dumb.
I could think of something cool.
I could have so many cool thoughts right now.
I miss coloring. I've just been staring at my crayons on the floor this whole time.
Oh God, that is torture. Poor gargoyles.
Yeah,
No wonder they're so mad.
They're probably more into chalk.
Probably.
I bet they eat chalk for power.
They eat chalk for power. That's for sure. Yeah,
it's a candy.
Gargoyles possess gender, though other creatures find it difficult or impossible to discern one from the other. Males typically have the largest horns, and females sport longer tails. Both genders are equally vicious and cruel. Females are better hunters, while males make better guards.
Why gender these?
I don't know. It's 4th edition, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, you have to like part the feathers in the.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting if you do. It's like not whatever if you don't. Like whatever. I don't know.
Check its grundle.
Check its grundle.
That's the only way to know.
Mated pairs. Oh, yeah, this is why they gendered them, because they decided to make them biological.
Okay.
Mated pairs remain together only until eggs are produced. When the female becomes pregnant, she selects a secure lair as she can find and assumes stone form for more than a year. The male stands guard, spending much of that time in stone form, but he also patrols the area a few times a month, looking for signs of activity or intrusions. When the female comes out of stasis, she holds a clutch of mismatched eggs that look like smooth rocks.
Dragon Magazine can't fucking help itself, can it?
No, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I love it, though.
It's fucking funny for sure.
It's funny as hell.
It's so unnecessary.
It leads to interesting things, because, like, okay, like, maybe you don't have an idea of gargoyles laying eggs, but you read this and you're like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if the adventurers ran into a clutch of gargoyle eggs and they won't know what the fuck they're dealing with? They're like, what are these weird eggs? They're all mismatched and blah, blah. And then a gargoyle tries to eat them. And then they figure out they're gargoyle eggs. And then they have to decide what to do with them.
Right.
I mean, it could lead to some interesting things.
Sure.
And you don't have to use it if you don't want to.
Right.
So the rock-like eggs do not hatch, instead growing larger over time and shifting into humanoid shape. Slowly, these new gargoyles become mobile and explore their surroundings, learning to claw, bite, and take wing. If the younger gargoyles discover one another, they test their natural weapons in battle, often to the death. Survivors reach adulthood within 5 years, when they gain the ability to assume stone form and seek out a lair of their own. Only rarely do siblings band together and search for others of their kind. Even when gargoyles join larger groups, familiar bonds fade quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for creatures born of chaos, gargoyles are remarkably patient. Sages speculate that the ability to become dormant for years, decades, or centuries must give gargoyles a unique perspective on time. Exactly what that perspective is, only a gargoyle could say, and the creatures are not known for being communicative or thoughtful. Gargoyles cleave to extremes, much like their primordial forebearers, switching explosively from attentive and guarded to tumultuous and destructive. A gargoyle might crouch in stone form for 10 years, ignoring hundreds of travelers who pass beneath its perch, and then spring upon one particular victim who seems no different from any other. Another gargoyle might refuse to let any creatures pass without accosting them. So that's all I have on gargoyles.
Okay.
We're going to take a short rest, and then we'll come back. We'll read the stat block.
Let's do it.
Let's take a short rest.
We've returned.
Indeed we have.
We're fucking back.
Yes, we are.
We skipped Ilian and Beer, and Will and I both got sick.
We're still sick.
Yeah, like we're
Mildly sick.
Post-sick drainage is what it's called. Sorry for being grotesque about it, but you know how gargoyles have sand for blood, wet sand for blood? That's what my sinuses feel like, and my lungs.
Right now I have Dayquil for blood. It's flowing through these veins.
I did. You hooked me up with some Dayquil.
I did. I was a drug dealer today.
I sang Little John's shots while we did it. Because I have these tiny plastic, when we play D&D, we take shots for nat ones. And I have plastic shot glasses because like I don't trust these people.
Yeah.
And
I don't trust these people.
I had Will pour them into those. So that was a lot of fun. Let's see. We talked about the merch shop.
We did.
You can support. So sorry for not doing Ilian and Beern this week. They're just going to continuously fly through the air until we figure out how
land
to
at
some point, or maybe they fucking won't. Who knows? But we're about to record next week's episode after this, so don't expect another Ilian and Beern until like a couple weeks from now. So sorry for 3 weeks of no Ilian and Beern.
We apologize.
Yeah, we don't do them on like guest episodes either. So.
Or when we're sick.
Which has been a couple times now. So sorry about that. If you want to check out Ilian and Beern centric content, there have been updates to the Patreon recently where you can go hang out with Ilian and Beern while they talk about fucking real world bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for listening to the show. I guess now's a good time to talk about we're making some changes to formatting of the show and things like that.
Soon incoming.
Yeah, we're just gonna roll it out slowly and have it all ready to go by episode 400. It'll be we're keeping the core tenets of the show together. It's not gonna change in a way where you're not gonna recognize it anymore. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. We're just gonna quality it up a little bit. I think it's time for some changes. I think
clean it up.
Yeah, I got some feedback. It's 400 episodes. Good time for a little bit of a refresh, I think. So that's what we're going to do. Just lay down some expectations for the future. If you see things changing, us new music, us calling us things, different segments of the show, different things, that kind of thing. So just a heads up that might be happening. Probably is happening. Will and I have talked about it in length today. And thanks a lot to Zoe for coming on last week.
Yes.
Please check out the Maniculum podcast and that episode that we did where we talk about medieval shit, which is crazy.
It was really cool.
Let's talk about the gargoyle.
Let's do it.
Some
Let's talk
more.
about the stat block.
I've got it up in front of me.
Yeah, challenge rating 2. Whoop, spoilers.
Yep.
Good.
God damn it. Skip ahead. Will, any more spoilers?
No, I'm not going to say it.
Okay, unpause. Is that how that works? Gargoyles are medium elemental chaotic evil. Armor class 15 natty. HP is 50,
sense.
HP is 52 or 78 plus 21. Speed is 30 feet, and they can also fly 60 feet.
They can actually fly faster than they can walk.
Yeah, I think I would imagine that they're falling with style, right? Like,
I mean, they can get air. They can fly 60 feet vertically.
maybe like, yeah, I guess they're just really, really fucking strong.
Yeah, those wings are buff.
When you have sand for blood, baby,
The things you can
things
do.
you can do. That's a whole Dr. Seuss book. I'm not going to read it right
honestly,
now.
I guess they're not that strong. It's only 15.
Strength, spoilers. Strength is +2, Dex +0, Con +3, Intelligence -2, Wisdom +0, and Charisma -2. So yeah, these are lackeys. When you have got the low charisma, you know you've got a lackey going on. Somebody that can be told what to do. Lack of will.
Oh, mostly when that's paired with the low intelligence.
That too, yeah.
But
That's fair.
you make a good point.
Damage resistances, bludgeoning, piercing, and so Beepus from non-magical attacks.
Let's take a moment to talk about Beepus because we've been getting a lot of feedback and
About Beepus?
Well, not exactly about Beepus, but very, very related about the force damage thing.
Oh, right.
And it kind of made apparent a glaring like blind spot that I think both of us have been having when it comes to like the development of D&D, of them essentially moving away from the idea of magical damage.
Oh,
and
interesting.
now making anything that does magical damage do force damage instead.
Oh.
And they've been doing this for a while, and we just hadn't really noticed.
That's what they're doing.
We happen to notice with Elemental Myrmidons, and a lot of
Myrmidons.
people are suspecting that the new 1D&D stuff coming out, they're going to be doing away with, at the very least, magical Beepus.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because that's a mouthful.
it is a mouthful. I have mixed feelings about how I feel about it, but
Well, I'm glad we
can talk
got
about
this joke on the in before it has to go away.
it. Indeed.
I'm sure there'll still be Beepus.
Yes, there will still be Beepus. We could talk about it another time about like my mixed feelings. Like there are good things that'll come out of it, but there are kind of some things I don't like about it. But anyways,
You can adamantine this guy up too.
that's true. Gargoyles. Let's talk about it.
Damage immunities.
Oh, poison. Sorry.
That's it. That's the only one. So I don't have I can't queue you up
yeah,
other
sorry.
than that.
Yeah.
Condition immunities, exhaustion, petrified, and
Poisoned.
senses, dark vision 60 feet, passive perception is 10. I feel like that should be higher based on the lore.
Yeah, like I said, I think they should have tremor sense,
Yeah,
but they don't.
they don't.
But they should. And I would homebrew that in. I'd be like, give them 50 feet tremor sense, and then maybe advantage on perception checks to see and hear while they're in stone form. I might throw that on there too. But
Yeah, would that be more of a I know I said blind sense earlier. I think I meant tremor sense when I said that. But
yeah,
would blind sense be a good thing to have when they're in that form?
well,
there?
they don't because they can literally see
That's
through their
true.
eyes.
Yeah, they are.
But- but
semi-comed.
the lore says that they can feel vibrations of things approaching. So,
Got it. They speak Terran.
as they should.
That's it. Challenge rating 2. They're going to yield 450 experience points, and the proficiency bonus is at a +2. Did I read the challenge rating? Where is it?
You did. You just did. You said challenge rating too.
Oh, shoot. I was like looking, because this stat block is so small, I'm used to it on the other side.
Yeah.
And now it's up here on the right. False appearance. While the gargoyle remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from an inanimate statue. We got actions. Multi-attack. The gargoyle makes 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its claws. Bite is going to be a melee weapon attack, +4 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target, hits for 5 or 1d6 +2 piercing damage. We also have the claw, melee weapon attack, +4 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target. It's going to hit for 5 or 1d6 +2 slashing damage.
Pretty standard when it comes to the attacks. I think, again, the things that make this stat block interesting are the being able to attack from surprise.
Yeah,
from
the false appearance.
being able to fly. 60 feet is very far. That's very fast. So this thing can be super mobile if you play it right. And then the being able to resist bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't adamantine is great against a low-level party because most of them shouldn't be having magical weapons at that point.
Right.
So it could be tanky and fast. It just doesn't really hit that hard, but that's okay. If it's doing all the other things.
I think it's doing what you need it to do for a challenge rating 2 creature.
Yeah.
And the high AC, well, 15 is pretty high for CR2. Is good.
It's good.
50 HP is not a lot. Not at all.
No, but that resistance I think can basically doubles it, right?
That's basically what we're doing here is we're putting the resistance on it. We've got a decent AC. That's going to make this creature carry to be a good mini boss or a boss for low level.
Yeah, I see this. I see this being like an oh shit challenge for a level
3 to 5 party.
No, I would say 2 to 3 party.
2 to 3.
Basically, you throw 1 or 2 of these, depending on their level, at the very beginning of a dungeon to give them that feeling like, oh fuck, what are we in for? Because, like, obviously, like that didn't take us out, but that was tough when we just got here, kind of feel.
Yeah, I'm putting my best stuff at the front of the dungeon if I'm an evil archmage, and then I'm like my best sentient people. I'm gonna put most of them towards the front and keep like my most trusted towards the back.
Sure, yeah.
And then I'm gonna booby trap in between, like
Sure.
here and there,
Yeah,
not everywhere. Because my
see
dungeon's
that.
gonna have function. It's gonna have places I need to be.
Yeah, and I don't need these giant, powerful monsters in my way.
Yeah, like giant, powerful monsters that know who I am up at the front. I'm gonna let me in. I'm gonna go down a hallway. I'm gonna hit the fucking stone code to let me through the spike trap, and then I'm gonna go into the rooms I need to go into, and then I'm gonna go pet my fucking naga or whatever the fuck I got in the back.
Sure, okay.
Some shit. My chimera.
Your chimera.
Yeah,
I'd own a chimera if I could.
absolutely.
So we decided to pull up the Nabasu stat block. It's when I say substantially more powerful, it's like
It's oh my god more powerful. I
It's
just
oh
pulled
my
it up.
God
I didn't
more
look at it at
powerful.
all.
There's a
Jeez.
challenge rating 15 Fiend. You can find this one in either Mordenkainen Somphos or Monsters of the Multiverse.
Yeah.
It's a demon. Yeah, tell me all about this demon, bro.
Ro-
You're the Fiend again.
It's
For
true.
15 minutes. Let's
Yeah,
go.
Of course, Mordenkainen is here. Is Mordenkainen? Do you picture fucking Benedict Cumberbatch as Mordenkainen?
I don't.
I do because it's like so close to Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness that
I
like,
guess so. Well, his picture is on the cover.
literally looks like Benedict Cumberbatch too, like a little bit.
If he's-
As
he's
Doctor
very
Strange.
bald.
He's got the
Oh,
cloak
okay. Doctor
with
Strange.
the hot.
yeah.
Yes, Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah.
Okay.
But
His face
specifically the
doesn't
Marvel
look
one.
like Benedict Cumberbatch at all.
Yeah.
He's got the mustache that
Right, they're different
he's
guys.
bald.
Yeah, they're different guys, but they went
Look,
to high school together, right? Or
as-
like they go to the same like.
as a bald person.
That,
For those of
mean
you,
as you.
those of you
Will is
listening
bald.
don't know, I am bald.
Will is
I was
bald.
not always bald. I used to have very long, luscious hair, but that's not what we're talking about right now. But as a bald person, you learn very quickly that bald people in media are almost always the villain, almost across the board.
It's a tropey
You
thing.
never, except for One Punch Man, you don't see a bald hero very often. Now, Mordenkainen is not a hero. He's kind of an asshole, but he's not a villain, and for that, I appreciate him.
I'd shout out to Dominic Toretto, who's not necessarily like. I mean, he's a hero, right?
Who?
Dominic Toretto.
I don't know who that is.
It's Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious.
Oh, okay.
He's bald.
He's bald and a hero. Well,
Right,
a
yes,
protagonist.
yeah, he is the.
He's a protagonist.
Like, is he an
That's
anti-hero
nice.
or like?
I don't know.
what is
I've
he?
never seen any of those movies.
What?
I-
They're fucking hilarious.
They're not my speed. They're
really?
just not.
That's a good one. Not your speed.
I swear to God. Okay, back to the Nabasu, please.
Will is slow and temperamental.
Let's go.
Okay, Nabasu, medium fiend, demon, typically chaotic evil.
I mean, I would veto that, and it would have to be always, right? Like, gargoyles are chaotic evil, and if these ones were corrupted by the demon Lord Orcus, how would they ever not be?
That implies a lore reason, right?
Right.
Like, so typically they're chaotic evil, and that would mean that there is a lore reason for this one specific thing that somehow we did not cover in the Year of the Fiend, I don't think. So maybe that's something we can look at. Or maybe it will reveal itself as
we
we...
didn't cover. There's too many.
Yeah, maybe it's something that will reveal itself as we read the stat block. We got an armor class of 18, natty. HP is 190, 20d8 plus 100. Speed is 40 feet and can fly 60 feet, so slightly faster than a gargoyle on land. Strength plus 6, dex plus 2, con plus 5, intelligence plus 2, wisdom plus 2, charisma plus 3. So their sand blood has been replaced with demon blood, and that's
Indeed.
why they are this way. They have the body of a gargoyle, but they have the blood of a demon.
Absolutely.
Saving throws, strength plus 11, dex plus 7, skills, perception plus 7, damage resistances to cold, fire, lightning, beepus from non-magical attacks. We have damage immunity.
Poison.
That's poison, just poison. And a condition immunity.
Poisoned.
Senses, dark vision, 60 feet, passive perception, 17. That's more like it. Fuck yeah. This feels better.
It does feel bad.
Languages, abyssal, and telepathy, 120 feet. It's cool. I like the sort of tie-in. Like, this is a demon version. The elemental chaos, the demonic chaos, fourth edition. It's all coming
It's all
together here.
converging here.
Yeah, in a 5th edition way. Challenge rating is 15. They're going to yield 13,000 experience points. They are operating on a +5 proficiency bonus. Excuse me. Demonic shadows. The Nabasu darkens the area around its body, and a 10-foot radius. Non-magical light can't illuminate this area of dim light. Pretty cool.
Told you I was getting Shadow Demon vibes.
Yeah. Maybe some that work for shadow demons are not. Well, shadow demons are chaotic too.
Shadow demons are way lower on the totem pole compared to these guys.
They've been fused. They've sucked out all the sand blood and put a shadow demon in the veins.
Yeah.
Devour soul. A Nabasu can eat the soul of a creature it has killed within the last hour.
No, my soul.
Provided that.
I need that.
So there you have it, folks. Canonically, your soul is in your dead body for at least an hour. Provided that the creature is neither a construct nor an undead. The devouring requires the Nabasu to be within 5 feet of the corpse for at least 10 minutes, after which it gains a number of hit dice, D8s, equal to half the creature's number of hit dice. Roll those dice and increase the Nabasu's HP by the numbers rolled. For every 4 hit dice the Nabasu gains in this way, its attack deals an extra 3 1d6 damage on a hit. Fuck. And Nabasu retains these benefits for 6 days.
So the only way I see this really being, I see this being utilized in 2 ways. One is like you do some of this beforehand. Like this Nabasu is even more powerful than normal because it has devour 2 souls or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other way, the first way that I see it being used is like a Nabasu attacks, actually kills one of your party members, eats his soul, and runs, dips out, and now you have an hour to hunt that motherfucker down, or your buddy Bob is dead for good.
Not dead for good. A creature devoured by a Nabasu can be restored to life, but only by the wish spell.
Yeah, and that's tough.
One.
That's a tough one. That's a level 9 spell. So
as a dungeon master that saw people draw from the deck of many things many times, wish rarely comes up.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it only came up once out of like 10 to 20 draws.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw a lot of sadness, a lot of funny stuff too. Also cool, like if you're a pit fiend or something, or I guess not a pit fiend, but whatever. What's the equivalent?
Oh my god.
Demonic boss monster.
Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? It's the one that looks like a Balrog. It's the Balor.
The Balor. Yeah, if you're a Balor and you've got one of these hanging out with you, you're like, a party comes up to chit chat and wants to fight you, and you're like, I don't have time. I'm going to take one of the souls I carry on me out of my little bag and feed it to my boy and leave him behind to fight you guys.
Sensubine.
Yeah, Sensubine. Sensubine. Magic resistance. The Nabasu has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. This is a crazy cool monster.
I like it.
Actions. Multi-attack. The Nabasu makes 1 bite attack and 1 claw attack, and it uses soul-stealing gaze.
Ooh.
Bite is a melee weapon attack with plus 11 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target. It's going to hit for 38 or 5d12 plus 6 necrotic damage. Oof. Claw is a melee weapon attack plus 11 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target. It's going to hit for 28, 4d10 plus 6 force damage. Cool. Soul-stealing gaze. The Nabasu targets 1 creature it can see within 30 feet of it. If the target isn't a construct or an undead, it must succeed on a DC 16 charisma saving throw or take 13 or 2d12 necrotic damage. The target's HP maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage dealt, and the Nabasu gains hit points equal to half that amount. Let's see.
So it could steal little parts of your soul.
Right. This reduction lasts until the target finishes a short or long rest. The target dies if its HP maximum is reduced to 0, and if the target is a humanoid, it immediately rises as a ghoul.
I love that.
Under the Nabasu's control. You can check the monster menu for ghoul.
That's fun.
Wow. Not a gargoyle, technically, but still a really cool stat block.
Kind of way 100 times cooler than a gargoyle.
Yeah. Maybe you can have a gargoyle that's been corrupted by a local demon, and it's halfway in between.
Ooh, it's mid transformation.
Yeah,
I like that.
Bump down the armor class 1 or 2, and the
make
HP.
it a challenge rating 8 creature.
Yeah, so here's basically we have what I'm trying to say is we have the gargoyle at one end of the scale and the Nabasu at the high end of the scale, and you can kind of mitigate the stat block and be whatever you need in between. And if you need the Nabasu to be even stronger, feed it your friend's soul.
Absolutely.
Or your enemy's soul.
Indeed.
Whatever's clever.
Okay, cool. I'm a big fan of the Nabasu. I mean, the gargoyle stat block is fine. It's well made enough. It's a little boring, but the Nabasu is pretty impressive, and I like it a lot.
It's exactly what I would expect from the game, which is at the lower levels, you don't need a lot of excitement to have an interesting combat, especially with something that can camouflage and hide itself the way this thing does.
Yeah.
I think the execution placement of this thing in a dungeon or, in some like open field or something like that. Like when I say open field, I mean like a terrain of types.
Is that a gargoyle out in an open field?
It's just
standing there.
standing in the middle of a meadow. No, not like that. But, having a creature like this just sort of randomly placed, like, why have we been seeing gargoyles in these random places? And then you find out, like, the boss of whatever area you've been traipsing about has been spying on you with his gargoyle homies.
Indeed.
That, there's a lot of cool applications for the gargoyle. Very early, one of my first campaigns, I used one, and the fight went really well. It was cool because your party members walk into an area and there's, statues. I had mine in like a circular kind of area. And then all of a sudden it just like walks out and it's like one of these guys is here and it's time to fucking fight. And it's not something. It's a very gritty, good ambush monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, obviously like
classic for a reason.
Yeah, so I can vouch for it as somebody who's used it. But that's everything that we have here.
All right. Well, with that being said, I think it's time we took some downtime.
Let's go. Let's take some downtime and go to our favorite tavern where we open up Dungeoncast reader mailbag.
Let's do it.
Well, hello everyone. We're back again, and we're sitting in our cozy Dungeoncast tavern. Will, what's your favorite drink to get while you're here?
God damn it, man! You had to put me on the spot.
Absolutely. Gotta flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Give me some warning next time.
It's brand new. Improv is a core tenet of D&D.
You're not wrong. I got nothing. I got nothing.
I really like the.
Oh, you know what? No, they've introduced this new beverage, this new ale, said to be filtered through the sand blood of a gargoyle.
Ah, very very wonderful. I like the Yancey Vin air gel tarts.
Okay, nice. That's
Good.
Cool.
I usually order those as an appetizer before I sip on some mead.
Indeed,
some Dungeoncast brewed mead.
Mm-hmm.
We're calling this section, instead of the long rest, we're gonna call this our downtime section, where we come take a little bit of a break from our normal adventure and interact with all of you in the virtual tavern space. So we want to read some. This is our fan interaction portion of the show. We want to read some emails that came in over the last few weeks. This one is from Christopher Gregory. So thank you for sending an email, Christopher. Christopher writes, Duncoles7606 made a comment about no Ben Grimm reference in your Yancey Bin episode, where you guys didn't see the connection when reading his email in episode 392. Actually, pushes glasses up nose. It literally says that. The Yancey Street Boys was a prime antagonist for Ben Grimm in the comics for decades, with a ton of lore connecting the two, up to when Ben even garners peace with them after donating money to build a rec center for the poverty-stricken gang, and finding out the facility was named after Grimm's dead brother that once was part of a gang, and now the gang is like protectors of the area due to those connections. Crosses arms and nods. You're welcome for the info dump upgrade. Enjoy the free upgrade. And then there's rock and roll, rock on emoji.
Yeah.
Sunglasses emoji,
smiling.
Thumbs up emoji.
Indeed.
Thanks a lot, Christopher.
Indeed.
We appreciate your.
I honestly had no idea about that connection, so now I know. Thank you.
Now we have the Chouse King, or the Chaos King, has also sent an email. Hello, Will and Brian. I am a young viewer, and I am a big fan of your podcast. I'm just saying hello. I don't have money to support you on Patreon, but I would if I could.
Oh, well, thank you.
Some kid on the internet.
Thank you, some kid on the internet.
Thank you very much. Hey, if you guys don't have money to give us on Patreon, that's totally fine.
That's totally fine.
Hey, we really appreciate everybody that does. You guys help float the show in a big way, but
indeed,
not saying that
it's not mandatory.
We didn't make this show.
Yeah, we appreciate the sentiment
to make money on Patreon. It's really nice that we do. So yeah, thanks a lot. We're just glad that you're here. I hope you learned all kinds of cool curse words from this. And our last email, no subject, but it's from Destin Lee. Sup, heroes. Thanks for the fun and love. I love you guys having much fun, spinning good words. Bravo for the stories. Appreciate the love and like. On my Bazim Gorag request, I've been home spinning this Slod Demilord under an alt name, but more of the known canon on this monster would be great. Slim pickings out there. Some of it's like that, huh? I'm a 54-year-old feller, started playing in 1980. I have a 20-plus year-long world build project getting close to being put on the table by title of Terrors of Taru. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
They said, thank you, High Primate of Taru, et cetera, et cetera. Well, thanks, Destin. That's crazy. 20-plus year-long world build is quite the feat.
Indeed.
1980s before I was born. But not too far before I was born.
Yeah.
Kind
We're
of.
getting up there. We're catching up to you, Destin. We're catching up to you.
Unfortunately, we never will. Or catch up to you, actually, because that's not how time works. But thanks for writing in. We really appreciate it. We also have some Apple Podcast reviews that will be.
Oh, yeah, we do. Okay, so I think we left off, and I might be wrong here, but I think we left off with the most fun you can have besides playing D&D last time. I think that was the last one we read.
Probably. I mean, like, hey,
so
if
we're
we
gonna
read one
we're
twice,
gonna go from there.
whatever.
And yeah, if I read any of these twice, I apologize. But it looks like we have 6 new Apple Podcast reviews, starting with Ace Homie, who left a 4 out of 5 star review. I don't know if that was a mistake or
it's okay.
I mean, either way, it's
Thank
okay.
you- thank you, Ace Homie.
I appreciate it. Entertainingly informative, Ace Homie says. I've been listening to y'all for a few years and have enjoyed the lore and info on D&D, but lately I really tune in to hear the grand adventures of Ilian and Byrne. Oh, I'm sorry about these last 3 episodes. Because they've been absent.
Well, the last episode, this episode, and next episode.
Yes, yeah, that one, yes. Those 2 are leagues better than the Demogorgon guys.
I agree.
I agree. Thank you, Ace Homie. Thank you.
But without the without Grimly and Gromly, Ilian and Byrne wouldn't exist. So
That's also true.
they're standing on the shoulders of Demogorgon's warlocks.
Our next review comes from DM Wendy. This is a 5-star review. Thank you, DM Wendy. Returning to this has been so fun. The Dungeoncast was one of my first pieces of D&D media when I was looking into the Abyss 4 homebrew campaign in 2018. I instantly fell in love with the podcast, and as a teenager, I would listen to episodes while I did homework, yard work, and walked to and from school. During college, I stopped listening as much because I got busy. Now that I have my degree, I've been working at an office job in engineering. My entry-level work is still fairly menial, so I listen to this podcast to pass the time. Returning has been an absolute treat, and I am adoring the Year of the Elemental. Now I want to run methods and add a tie-in to the Para-Elemental Plane of Ice in my newest campaign. Shout out to Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon.
Congratulations on getting your degree.
Indeed.
Excellent work.
Congratulations. And
Welcome home.
I feel old. People be getting their entire degrees during the tenure of our podcast. We've been doing this for a while, man.
We've both had a child.
We both had a child.
Yeah.
It's true.
They can speak now.
They can speak now. It's true. Time, it flows and it goes.
It flows and it goes.
But I'm glad to have you back, DM Wendy. And I'm glad to hear that we're still entertaining.
Yes. Very good. Have fun with your methods.
Indeed. Next up, we have a review from Gunja Jason. I think that's Gunja Jason.
It'd be cooler if it was Ganja Jason.
It's a 5-star review. Thank you, Gunja Jason. Great TTRPG podcast. If you are interested in TTRPGs and also 2 chill dudes spoiling 20-year-old movies and TV shows, this podcast is for you. Brian and Will are witty, informative, and entertaining. If you're not interested in these things, go do something else.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Gunja Jason. Very kind words. I super
appreciate
it.
you.
Next up, we have Alistair Skywalker with a 5-star review. Great podcast. Love the podcast so far, especially the Deities and Demigods episodes. Ever since you did the episode on 4E, I've been wanting to ask something. Can you please do an episode on Arathis and or Melora? Those are 4E specific deities. They were 2 of my favorite deities, and I want to weave them into my world, but whenever I try to find any non-critical role lore on them, I get practically nothing. It feels like D&D tried to erase them completely compared to other 4E gods because they were a canonical couple. Maybe I'm just insane, but hope you can provide more clarity. I am a fan of both Arathis and Melora. I think in my 40 days, I don't remember too much written about Ballora, but I do remember there being a Dragon or Dungeon Magazine article going over Arathas's home city of Havestar, I believe. But yeah, they'll eventually will, I'm sure, cover them. I can't make any promises about how soon, but Arathas has been on my radar for a while. Spoilers for Super Quest Saga, one of the deities involved in the Prime event was Arathas.
Oh.
Just saying.
Okay.
It never comes up. And there's no reason that would ever have come up, but it's there. And if
I can only think of one time where it might have come up.
Recognize the description, the one description that you get in like the final episode.
That's
Yeah,
when we're walking through the shit.
Arathas is there. She's there, being Arathas.
And sorry, do we have more?
No. Oh, we have two more.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna jump in right there.
Yeah.
There was a discourse in Discord.
Oh,
in the Dungeoncast thread, that came up in regards to, and it's very relevant. I was going to talk about it this episode anyway, but we had somebody come into the Discord, kind of. They said they watched the Mistra episode that we had mentioned that we were going to talk about Cyric. That we had said that there's going to be an episode on it.
There will be. Eventually.
That is the thing. So there's been that kind of, there was some words that we had promised that thing. How can we?
It'll happen eventually. I can't promise when.
Right. So we want to do those episodes. When we mention something like that, when something like that comes up, it's on the docket. It's just a matter of, it literally is a matter of when. The show's not over in any regard.
Yeah.
It's ongoing indefinitely. So we've got time, and it doesn't mean that like it should have happened already and just hasn't. It's just like eventually we will cover this, but the multitude of topics the game has is D&D's not the only thing we're going to be doing. Like,
number one, D&D's not the only thing. We tend to have themes throughout the year, so we're trying to make room for that.
Right.
We have patron voted episodes. We have to make room for that. And when new interesting things drop, like a lot of like the new players handbooks coming out this year, we're gonna have to cover that too. So like we only get 52 of these sons of bitches a year.
Yeah.
And we do what we can when we can.
Right. And we would love to do more drop, but there's just not, weekly is what we're gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
That's the way it's gonna be.
But will there be a Cyric episode? Yes, I definitely want a Cyric episode. I'd love to have Diggy on for that episode because he hates Cyric, and it'll be very funny to explain how terrible Cyric is while he seethes over it.
There was also one of our patrons chimed in on that and said, to be fair, you never said when they'd get their own episode. Yeah,
I might be
exactly
50, but there'll be a Cyric episode.
Right. So like, unless like something major happens and we just can't do the show anymore or don't want to for whatever like issue comes up, which you don't really foresee those types of things, right? We plan on making the show for as long as we feel like it, pretty much. So eventually it will get their own episode, but like we're not promising them, and we're not promising when either. So both they traditionally, is what I was trying to say, is a lot of those things that we have talked about in passing have gotten their own episodes.
Indeed.
And so just be patient, or chime in like that, and okay, well now it's refreshed and maybe it'll come sooner, maybe not. It's hard to say, but we hear you is what I really want to say is like, you're not unheard in this matter. It's just we're gonna do it when we do it. So that's all. Sorry, I wanted to chime in and address that because I'm sure that people listening to older episodes are going to hear stuff like that and go look, oh, did they do it yet? Oh, they didn't, and be disappointed. And I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is. And we'll get to it when we get to it, though. So keep hanging on. There's lots of cool stuff to talk about.
Indeed, there is.
Forgotten Realms is not at the top of that list.
It's not.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have a 5-star review from N Boom. Great podcast for D&D lore lovers and DMs. As a lover of lore and a DM, always looking for inspiration, I'm a big fan, all caps, of the Dungeoncast. Thank you, N Boom. Very nice 5-star review.
I wonder if they're 2.5 doors big. That's a Demogorgon. That's a Dungeoncast Demogorgon.
Even I didn't get it, but yeah, I get it now. Okay, last up we have Overexcited About Everything has left a 5-star review.
Sick.
Absolutely.
I'm into your vibe.
Absolutely fantastic. I've been playing D&D for 20 years and still I learn so much new stuff with every episode of this podcast. The hosts are fantastic, the topics are interesting, and the theme music rips. I find myself recommending episodes to my friends constantly. Search for any topic and they have a show on it, except for Sarek, that will give you new insights and improve your experience at the gaming table. Thank you, Brian and Will, for your years of hard work and dedication. Thank you, Overexcited About Everything. I appreciate it.
Much appreciated. All the review. That was the last one, right?
That's the last one.
Thank you guys so much. You can go to any review our show. It really, really helps visibility for it. And that can only be good for everything that we do.
Indeed.
You know, the more resources we have at our disposal, we like to utilize those to make more show. So
Yes,
please,
we do.
please help.
Please help us.
Help us.
Help us make more.
Help me. So that's it. We finished our tavern snacks. I'm out of peanuts, and I had my first corn nuts for the first time that were like house made.
Oh, in
like
the real world?
actual corn kernels fried in oil and salted.
That's awesome.
They were delicious.
Really? Nice.
Holy smokes! It's like if you could eat the things at the bottom of your popcorn bag
Yeah, but,
and not destroy your mouth.
okay, for sure.
You know, they're actually, you could chew them. It was so good.
Okay, I'd be down to try them one of these
It was a
days.
Peruvian place.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, super good.
Nice.
And the braised meat. Ooh. I don't know if you guys know, I'm kind of a foodie a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll bring some of that to my tavern talk, and that's it. Now I think we're gonna be ready for long rest territory. Are we?
Let's
good
take
now?
a long rest.
Let's take a
Let's
long
do it.
rest. Hey everybody, welcome to the Long Rest. This is the part of the show where we tell you about all the stuff that's going on with the Dungeoncast. One of those things, Star Seeker's Guide to Drakenstar is on its way ish. Yeah.
Yep, working on the last chapter. Lots of monsters. So many monsters.
Thank you to everybody who has supported that project. Will's been working his buttocks off getting a very cool book written, and we're all really proud of him. So thanks, Will, for doing
Thank you.
that.
I appreciate it.
Like we said, we're going to be making some adjustments to how the show is formatted. You've heard a couple of them in these recent episodes and upcoming episodes, so keep an eye out for that. We did want to tell you about our new merch shop. So thank you, Dustin, for doing so much cool work in the merch shop.
Yes, there's now a growing collection of super freaking sick designs. I've been wearing one all episode, and you'll see it again in the next episode. But the Ooze Roomba shirt. But I believe there's an Asmodeus design in the works. There's a couple awesome Demogorgon designs on there. There's Bahamut's design, Bahamut's Gym. There's all kinds of cool stuff on there. So if you guys are fans of the show and want to get really badass looking merch that reps the show and also support an artist who's a big fan of the show and does some awesome work, go check out the link in the description, Baba Yaga's Yard Sale. It's where you will find all your new awesome Dungeoncast merch.
Yeah, we if you want to interact with the show in our tavern talk section, you can do so by emailing us at thedungeoncast@gmail.com. You can also send hard mail into I believe it's 1784 PO Box 1784, Upland, California 91785. But that address is below in case I messed it up. So check that out in the description. You can send us mail and we'll read it on the show. You can also leave YouTube comments, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. That really helps us out a lot. And we do read YouTube comments on the show. We kind of pick and choose which episodes we want to go by, but we usually just read everything that's there. We don't really curate too much unless it's like too crazy. And then we also have other ways for you to interact with us on social media. Will, can you speak on that?
Yeah, in the description you'll find links to our Twitter, to our Instagram, to our Discord, and to our Mastodon and our Threads account.
Yeah, I saw some disparaging stuff about Instagram using artists' posts to curate their AI-generated art.
Oh, boy.
And so I see a lot of artists leaving Instagram right now, and I do not blame you. So,
No, I honestly, I'm learning about this right now.
Yeah, that's been an unfortunate thing that happened. I'm on Instagram a lot. You can follow me, Sound Good Inc. If you want to come chat with me. I'm posting stuff about like my turtle or like whatever, dude. I'm not like doing a ton of D&D stuff there, but some of you guys send me funny D&D memes, and I think that's pretty cool. So feel free to continue to do that and come interact with me there. You can also find us on Discord. That's a great place to come talk and chat with us.
That's like the only social media I actually personally partake in.
Yeah, Discord is great for a lot of things. If you're in the Dungeoncast Discord and you want to ask us something in real time, we'll probably answer. I usually try to get in there and if it's in that particular thread, but there's lots of stuff to do there. We have a really awesome team that admins and moderates that stuff for us. So thank you guys very much for doing that. Also, thank you to our team that helps us do cool stuff in the background. Just want to take a second to shout out to you. And then I think, is there anything else that we want to talk about in terms of show?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean,
patreon.com/Dungeoncast.
yeah,
You can go support us there. You can find Alien and Beer content, early episodes, show notes.
Eventually, there will be early access to our awesome
Unhallowed.
in the works horror RPG campaign, Unhallowed.
Yeah, it's been, it's taking a long time to produce it.
Some people have had kids in the works. We had to do a couple revamps. Someone had to walk away. It's been through the ringer, but it's come out great so far. So we're going to finish recording this series this summer and start on post-production this summer. Yeah. And hopefully have it out by the end of this year, early next year.
Yeah, we're going to figure out some way to get you guys Unhallowed content ASAP. I was pitching to Will, maybe we can do raw session updates for certain tiers. We'll see. We don't know. It's in the works, but the idea is that we want a really cool polished product to have in our Patreon for you guys. So it's taken a long time, but we're working on it, and we're gonna have it as soon as we can. So thank you guys. We also wanted to start using our platform to advocate for causes that we think are worthy in Will and I's eyes. So if you guys can, there's a link below where you can donate to the PCRF. That's the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. They provide free medical care to thousands of injured and ill children yearly who lack local access to care within the local healthcare system. We'd really appreciate it if you could consider going to donate to that. And then other than that, I think we have nothing else to give. We're done.
I think that's it.
I think we'll call it a game.
Let's call it a game. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
The Dungeoncast.